The honourable member for Battle River Crowfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity to address a number of issues facing my region. My question last year may at first glance seem a little strange. The retirement of postmasters would not normally be a national issue. However, in 4 post office locations, that brings the possibility of permanent closure. With closures, my constituents may not be able to access things such as prescriptions, e-commerce, and financial services. On this issue, more needs to be done, but I do appreciate that some steps have been taken. There are real concerns related to how this Liberal government treats rural Canada. Liberals' attitudes towards us is infuriating. It seems at best it's indifferent, but more often than not, it's downright hostile. An example of the indifference is that I hear regularly from constituents who are simply told by government departments to go to a local federal service location for help. In some cases, that is more than 300 kilometers away. Like service delivery, rural connectivity is a huge concern. COVID has made this more relevant than ever. Although steps have been taken to address early challenges in broadband programs, I speak to rural ISPs, communities, and individuals who have shared that the program is simply not responsive to their needs. By failing to address this, it only adds to the division between rural and urban Canada at a time when there are already deep divisions across our country. That's where the hostility we face comes in. Rural Albertans are dealing with an unprecedented increase in crime, something the Liberals have failed to address. While the last Parliament voted to study the issue, the Liberals failed miserably on any follow-through. Liberals at their finest. While provinces attempt to take action, the revolving door of the justice system, weak penalties, troubling recidivism rates, an evolving gang culture, and increased illicit drug smuggling are significant issues that demand action and are compounded by economic uncertainty. Rural Canada, and specifically rural Alberta, feels left behind. My constituents are fed up with a Liberal government that is more concerned about punishing law-abiding firearms owners than fighting crime. On that front, their policies are not only hypocritical, they are dangerous. Criminalizing hunters, sportsmen, farmers, and ranchers does nothing to help combat crime and emboldens the real lawbreakers. It is nothing more than a costly political move that is based on blind ideology. The evidence of this hypocrisy is when yesterday the Liberal NDP coalition voted against a Conservative measure to increase penalties against the real problem, smuggled guns and gang violence. These ideological attacks against rural Alberta have escalated in recent months. $170 a ton. More than 3 times what the Prime Minister promised the carbon tax would be. And now they say they have a national mandate to impose their tax. I can assure the Prime Minister he does not. He does not have that mandate in the region that I represent, nor in Alberta. It's not only bad policy and bad economics, it's fueling regional divisions that truly threaten to tear our country apart. The government, unfortunately, seems to be either ignorant to real issues or they are intentionally fueling divisions in our country for political gain. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thought we were going to be talking about Canada Post, and member wants to talk about the issue of gun controls and things of this nature, and he doesn't understand why it is, I guess, Canadians do not support the need to have military assault type style weapons in our community. But that's for another debate, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the member for at least suggesting we would be talking about Canada Post. Our government understands that the services that Canada Post provides to Canadians and businesses are essential for our country, and we are committed to safeguarding this iconic institution. Canada Post has been connecting Canadians for more than 250 years, Mr. Speaker. Its network of thousands of post offices across Canada serves as a vital link for many rural, remote, and isolated communities, especially in our northern regions, Mr. Speaker. We know that the services Canada Post provides in those communities across the country are of vital importance to well-being of Canadians and the Canadian economy. And even though more and more people communicate via email and social media, Canadians across the country continue to have a strong connection to letters and parcels from loved ones now more than ever. Every single day, Canadians receive letter mail and parcels from across the globe. Mr. Speaker, as the country responds to the COVID-19, Canadians turn to the Canada Post to provide an important service, which people at home and businesses closed. The corporation saw a dramatic shift in what it is asked to deliver. Online shopping drove unprecedented growth in volumes of parcels. Mr. Speaker, through the COVID-19 pandemic, Canada Post employees have been providing services to businesses that have helped keep our country going during these difficult and trying times. As Canadians across our country have stayed at home to help suppress the spread of COVID-19, they have become more reliant on the online shopping. Every day since the start of the pandemic, Canada Post has stepped up and continued to deliver all sorts of items purchased online these past few months. Mr. Speaker, since its very earliest days, our country's postal service has invested and evolved in order to meet the changing needs and expectations of Canadians. In concluding, this government is committed to renewed vision for Canada Post so Canadians can continue to benefit from a high-quality services at a reasonable price no matter where they live in our vast country. Compared to the Conservatives, who one could easily question in terms of what they believe Canada Post's future would look like. Mr. Speaker, in opposition, I saw the Stephen Harper as Prime Minister plant the seeds of doubt of the future of Canada Post. With this government, we have reaffirmed a commitment in the need for Canada Post, and I think this pandemic over the last number of months has clearly demonstrated what a critical role Canada Post plays for Canadians, not only pre-pandemic, but especially during this pandemic. And I want to take this opportunity to extend my appreciation to our Canada Post workers who have done an absolutely fabulous job. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Battle River Crowfoot.
The Parliamentary Secretary's response emphasizes the ignorance that this government has towards rural Canada. Mr. Speaker, on January 21st, we saw the cancellation of the Keystone XL pipeline. The Prime Minister gave up. He told us to move on. And like his father did decades ago, he flipped the bird to the west while still expecting us to keep writing the checks. The evidence is clear that this Prime Minister has left rural Alberta behind, and it seems like they are willing to use divisive national policies to drive a wedge between Alberta and the rest of Canada. Anyone who hears this and simply claims it's political posturing, I challenge them to come visit, and they can see for themselves the rising sentiment that I'm told daily, and that's that Alberta would be better off without Canada. Mr. Speaker, that's heartbreaking. While they plan to silence their opponents and reimagine the economy based on flimsy ideology, I'm glad to be part of a government in waiting that is ready to lead our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Parliament Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, it's supposed to Canada Post. We want to talk about the province of Alberta. I'm up to talk about the province of Alberta any day. In fact, when he talks about this whole issue of separation, the Conservative Party of Canada has to take its responsibility more seriously in terms of its role, in terms of a federation, as opposed to the divisiveness that they cause by giving so much misinformation to Albertans. This government has committed all sorts of resources to be able to support Alberta at this time of need, continues to work with different levels of government to ensure not only can Alberta be in a better position, but to ensure that those individuals that need the help are receiving the help. We have invested more in terms of infrastructure, more in terms of financial support. We have had more commitment to build a pipeline to the Pacific than Stephen Harper did in his full 10 years. The Conservatives continue to spread misinformation about what it is that this government has done in working with others for the province of Alberta, something I am very proud of.